remember. We interpret your words. We demolish your words. We take your words for absolute truth. Do you want us to live in peace? Or do you want us to lose? Do you think they will remember the future? Do you think they will remember? Do you think they will remember the future? Do you think they will remember? I wasn't always this naive. One time I knew when I laid back and I looked up, and the sky, it was blue. Thank you. I don't know who's next. Is it the next person on this list? Okay. Please welcome Mr. Brandon Blue.
Hey, y'all. I want to thank WWPH for inviting me to read and also having me in the Capital Love Anthology. I'm going to be reading 3 poems, the first of which is from my chapbook, Snapshot. If you like anything, you can find me later. I have copies to sell to you. This poem is called Tinted. These days, hot and lazy, wearing nothing, looking at blue skies and tan roofs, something patterning them with shadows, thinking I hear my mother calling me to raise objects in front of new shears to see what anyone might see. A vase, the weight of her breast, and instead raising naked in front of my own window, knowing nothing is there to obscure me. It is leaves that are patterning that roof. And to be seen by no one and yet see 3 someones pointing at my window, imagining their view, and instead seeing a skyline on Sundays like these. So the poem that was accepted in the anthology is entitled A Room of One's Own, or Orgy in Which Everyone is Black. You know, gotta have a little after. If you have it, it is on page 8. Here, each person undresses to accommodate the other, to become the darkness between our bodies, to pull each other close. We strip the arguments of our lives into plastic bags too sublime into a room that no other room can hold. A vase holding few bearded irises tangle. The petals thumb the lip for stability. hanging counterbalance on what they can depend brother to brother. At an angle, with a porno projected on the wall, you might see a shadow stroking me gently. But it is me, whispering to myself, this space is supple and brief, and when we must leave, we depose to genes and bodies again. Thank you. The last poem I'll be reading is unpublished, so if you know anybody who wants to publish it, find me as well. And it is a poem after Ana Menenita's untitled Silhouette series, Mexico 1976. If you're unfamiliar with this series, there are these amazing large-scale sculptures built out of the realms that they are in the shape of the artist's body, usually in a kind of surrender pose. On longing. For years, I had wanted so badly to be empty, to put out the heat of my body. I'd imagine it hip-slung, leaning against a wall, seducing even the air with its combustion. Hand down its pants, its shadows it makes, beckoning clouds of gnats to sit with it, hovering around it for a kiss. Next to a lover you've lied next to before, there's a logic to touching, to the ways heat is tempered, is stoked. I studied new systems of touching daily. After each orgasm, a wash of emptiness that filled too soon. I gave my blood to a doctor to examine me, to make salient my body, to decipher the clutter I had made, that I had let enter. I cannot usually give blood because of my heat, and as each vial filled, so was I with the horse's scream. I was prescribed medication to flush me, to make me more empty, a state from which the doctor said the body could whole itself. Some believe in a kind of holy emptiness, a space in the body that ought to be left open for God to enter you, a room empty enough for wind to make music. Gaudi believed in holy sound and built a cathedral to contain it. In the sand, when we rise from it, the lightest touch leaves an impression, a divot curved around a structure, unable to be filled quite right by anything but you. Thank you. Next up is Grace Cavallari.
Don't have Grace today, sorry. The next writer up is Ellen Aronofsky-Cole.
Now I get to test the range of the microphone, how high and how low it can go. Brandon, those were great. I really enjoyed them. There's actually some stripping in my poem, too. But no snaps. This is the poem that's in capital love. It's on page 16, which is my birthday day. So I thought that was special. Tiny globe. Who knew an old woman like me had so many marbles to lose? Each a miniature earth, an eddy of green and blue. When I was a child, I carried constellations in my pocket. So often now I dither, and you, dearest, muddle too, our marbles commingling. I strip off my dress and stretch out beside you, just skin on skin, a kiss landed, a caress. We could even be lounging on Aegean shores, a god and goddess made of perilous flesh. The sea, a waver of opal and birds. In a scatter of dust, I find one of yours, an aggie. I hold it in my palm a moment. How lovely that tiny globe looks in the late sun. Slippage. Your heart has a small leak, says Dr. Fox. Blood seeping backwards through one of its valves, but just a little. And my heart says, everything into everything. Not loudly, just a tiny voice tapping in my ear. And on my way home, the drip of rain seeping into the ground keeps sounding in my head. The brown February landscape pining for snowdrops, and the coming surge of crocuses and bedazzle of daffodils. And Laura, my green thumb girl, who has never killed a single plant. I picture myself standing on her front lawn, pressing flower bulbs into her hands, and my Laura, mother-to-be of bluebells, tulips, grape hyacinth, Lenten roses who are always humming about Easter, and glory of snow, my favorite, those unassuming blue stars that grow when you're past hope that winter will ever end. And I rest my head on Laura's shoulder, my heart seeping the whole while into the lawn and the soil with its peculiar needs, the patient roots of not yet blooming azaleas, purple, I think, that grow by the fence, and into Laura, of course. And I whisper to her about the blood leaking backwards from my right ventricle to the right atrium of my heart, but only a little leak, so no need for alarm. And Laura doesn't say anything, just wraps her arms around me, the bulbs still clutched in her hands, each one with its embryonic flower bud curled inside. And I'm going to read one more. This is for my brother who passed away. It'll be 2 years in September. Night Ghost. Your face peers out of every corner. 18 months and 6 days since your death. White shape drifting across the inside of my eyes. Pale puppet flapping through dark. Is it you, Wayne? Your words mumbling in the haze. You who were a banked flame, your illness always creeping after me. I tried to take care of you after our parents died. Those years of agitation, sleepless nights that flared, subsided, and bloomed again. Then you dropped out of this world. How could you, without me there to gentle your passing? I could never fear you, not even when your madness screamed and bucked, walked full-bodied in the open air. Who was I to tell you what is and isn't true, as if I knew? I have one more. Is there time?
Sure.
Okay.
One more.
Praise for my hip. Hip joint pulled from my body, wormholed, misshapen ball and joint. Your roundness collapsed into corners. I praise you. for your rotations, your bends, your thumps, your clicks, your jumps, for the pain, a scream I finally heeded, for the daughters I delivered, how you spread to let them pass. I praise you. Cells of my cells and bones of my bones, I grew you. So you didn't last as long as me. It's not your fault. I forgive you. Gravity did it. The splits when I was young. Cartwheels turned in the front yard of our split level on Douglas Drive. And joy, how I planted my hands in grass, one arm, then both, roll of the wheel, legs clocking overhead at 10 and 2, the neat return to upright. I praise you for that, dear hips, and the dances, boys and girls flinging hair like wild vines in wind, stomping and grinding, drums rocking into my chest, your perfect flirtatious swing. I might still take a turn on the floor at Tony and Shelby's wedding next month, if the doctor, praise him, gives me permission to abandon my walker, my new joint stayed high glass titanium, silver smooth. Novel hip settled in your nest of ligaments and muscles. Rotator, pelvis and the hip clasping hands, praise you, and all body parts unnamed here, exuberant in your there-ness. I'll wrap my arms around Brian's waist, and when the band, praise them, plays the slow song we've been waiting for, one we call a belly rubber, maybe blackbirds singing in the dead of night, Brian's arms shawled around my shoulders, his hands against my back, tempo slowed, sway and turn, my face laid against his shirt, both of us singing, the words sweet smoke rising up with no effort and falling into place. Next up is my dear friend, Jason Gephardt.
Okay. So love poems are kind of hard to write, I think, sometimes. So this is just a description of a love poem. This poem is in the anthology on page 31, and thank you for taking it. It's called Description of a Love Sonnet. Of all the love sonnets I've written, the whole Arabian Nights of them, the 1002nd is unspeakable. Having finally captured the shimmering blue of the peacock's feathers, the true tenderness of an infant's grip, my heart's entire holdings. So perfect, it has no use for end rhyme or pentameter. I'd be summarily executed merely for reciting it. But that's okay. When I listen close on the quietest nights, silence, broken by a car's passing, the branch scrape against the window, breath, these shadow lines that you are permitted to hear will suffice to say, I have loved all that could be. And this one isn't an actual love poem. It's after a line by Kenneth Koch poem called To You. This is a serious love poem. I love you as an insurance adjuster. I love you as a sapper sweeps for mines when I wake in the dark, needing to piss. I stagger to the toilet through the field of your scattered shoes, and one buried in the shag rug goes off, sending me tumbling. How can I not then love you as an insurance adjuster who should phone the bean counters in Hartford to report my twisted ankle, but instead dwells on the precise contours of your breasts and aches to comb for evidence in your hair, having become just a love-struck suit, who by night's end can do nothing but fax his claim to an unmanned office in Omaha. Okay. So my wife and I, we moved back to the city. We've been ping-ponging back and forth from Washington since I was a kid. And my wife and I met, well, that's the next poem. But we moved into this old house in DC, and they have these glass doorknobs that you can only imagine, if the house is 100 years old, that so many people have used this door, you know? And so here we are with our young family, and the fucking door will not close, you know? So my kids are in one room, like right next to it, and then our door just, you try to close it, and it opens up. You close it, it opens up. I think that's all you need to know. It's called glass doorknob. We notice it at night while undressing each other, our children finally asleep. Its latch comes loose from the nook in the frame, and our door peeks open. Perhaps the doorknob has grown tired of the future, so many hands having turned it. This house's past occupants, the ones who chose the popcorn ceilings and the strangely speckled kitchen counter, the one who botched the hanging of this door. How easy to overlook, even as its glass gathers and casts daylight, even as we grasp it. Okay. And so this poem is an actual love poem, as opposed to all those other ones. So I met my wife in college, but we just knew each other, and we didn't meet until after I had moved to New Jersey and she had moved to Manhattan. And her friend invited me to a party, and I came across the river to see her, and then I asked her out on a date. And I think that's all. Yeah, The Praise of Folly. I was reading a book by Erasmus called The Praise of Folly when I met her. It's called Praise, the poem. The dictionary never grows impatient with our not knowing. Grapple today, sleet tomorrow, accept what falls, it seems to say. I pull the praise of folly from the shelf. Half my life ago, I bought this book when she was so close across the Hudson, still unknown to me for just that little while longer. Now the beautiful, awkward sound of our son's viola spills down the stairs and snow falls. So thank you. So the next reader is Emily Holland, and her book, Notifications On, is coming out in January. So you should buy it.
Jason is so nice that he mentioned my book but didn't mention his own, which is coming out at the same time. So you should buy his book, Dictionary of Air, also from Washington Writers Publishing House, coming out in January. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to read a couple poems from my book. I don't actually have a poem in Capital Love, but I have some other poems elsewhere. So this one is from America's Future. Elopement. The desert has its own quiet desire, spliced with cracks and canyons, punctuated by the slowest growth. We go in January and see snow, even the melt, a delayed departure. We drive until the road turns to dust, pass a white piano, count 8 sleeping palms, arrive where backyard Joshua trees formed an altar for an elopement the previous week. On the nightstand of the B&B, a dried corsage, leftover wine in the fridge. We get high and talk about marriage again, no plans for engagement, maybe skip the charade, elope too. It must have been beautiful. Moonlight on iced over snow, stars flickering their own fireless chorus. No objections from tumbleweeds, just the high desert mountains and their lilac blessing on the horizon. Thank you. Memento Mori, Sedlik Ossuary, Kutna Hora, Czech Republic. Between the scratch of matches striking and sighs of prayer, I wonder if this is a different kind of love. We light a votive in this bone church to remember the dead. Can anyone here forget? Thousands of skulls stack in dusty pyramids, chandeliers of spines and ribs drip wax from above. There are no wooden crosses, no guiding Bible verses. The spire holds a golden skull and crossbones, and yes, it is holy. How can we each be alone in the echo of so many? No one speaks. We warm our hands above the quiet flames. I love that noise. I tried to pick my loveliest poems from here, so we'll see. All this back and forth. We aren't moving in the right direction, let me start over. We are moving in the right direction until we aren't. Recoil, a tennis ball thrown against a wall, my desire always comes back to me. It lands in my open palm, the hand that touched myself last night and you this morning, hoping to get you to unfurl somehow. Get out of routine. In a dream, my hands move over someone else's body. Someone I know wants this. Me, a role I was born to play. I can't help that I'm always wanting to be an object of desire. Yellow, you tell me often that you do want me, but the sentence stops there. I feel a line break, a pause before a continuation that never comes. Stasis. I tell you my dream, but leave out specifics. We always end up talking about the same things, how we both want what the other isn't ready to give or give up. You drift, golden hour. I am still waiting for some return. In Ricochet, we thought we would collide eventually. I'm saying everything I know how to say. And I'm just going to read one more, which is the last poem in the book, but it's the first poem in the Capital Queer anthology, which you can also pick up at this table. See, we're selling books. Us at Last. 9 years is a long time, a friend tells us, and they're right in some ways. One night in the desert, we talked of marriage until the stars faded. We were so small, so seemingly insignificant. We slept on different sides of the bed, and for a moment it felt as if everything had changed. I'm always afraid of change, but I love to party. Think I could learn to want the rings, the vows. There are too many ways to live in I love you. Back east, trees turn overnight, swap their greens for yellow and red. Everywhere's a small town where we only know what we can't say. Look, someone else's wedding on the Vermont hilltop. Perfect weather. Can't you see them kissing at the end of the world like nothing else matters? Thank you. And next up is my dear pressmate and friend, Stephen Leva. You can buy his book at this table too.
So it is a dear pleasure to be here with Washington Writers Publishing House. They really changed my life when they published my first book, The Understudy's Handbook. It's the one with the mask and the cicadas on it. So, and it's good to see so many familiar faces. Amy, Sid in the back, other people that have been a part of my journey. So I deeply believe that the purpose of poetry is to return and renew our relationship to language. And what else would we call that but love? So here are 3 poems that are new poems from a new manuscript. I guess this first one is a little bit about loving oneself under chronic illness. So it's titled Type 2 at 42 under a second term. Type 2 because I have type 2 diabetes, 42 because I was 42 when I wrote it, under a second term because he can kick rocks. Again, lassitude has your back against the wall. The long all of winter, boring. An aperture everywhere you look, the vole's portico in the garden, an empty envelope from an old roommate, the elision in a set of dance steps I once knew, porous memory, the body's slim insistence after chronic illness, marks me younger and older at the same time, not gaunt but not glowing, not pocked but less smooth than before. Blood sugar ate its weight in gold through my organs, mind gone all Midas. Nothing gold can stay, says Frost, Jack, or Robert. I keep returning an impoverished past to the omnipresent. In the future, irrational as ever. All of it a bit of play, a bit like roasting, like turning the pig on the spit. Limerence. What do we call this desire to be desired? The milkweed's impenitent bow to the monarch or starlight, the heart's timpani at a sundress, a thigh, a braided anklet, a kind word escaping the cocktail glass, an olive in brine. Name it beauty, and chase will become our watchword. Call it love, and the sun will kneel. Say happiness, and do I deserve this? Follows, rapturous, like a sparrow pecking the ground. Instead of wisdom, why not wish for the owl's heart at night, seeing in the dark more than a meal, but a place to sing? Don't imagine a dirge for the eaten. Conjure and exhale instead, the hoot of being alive. Name it, whatever you like. All right, this last poem is from a manuscript that I'm working on about 50 free black towns in pre-statehood Oklahoma. So in some ways, it's about loving a place. And it's titled, The Whole State Has Always Been a Casino. The whole state has always been a casino. Bet on agrarian. Lay all your money on cotton, gin, and cattle. And here come the back talk of industrial revolution. Child, slide your chips toward church fronts and salons of such fame, the wait time to catch a tambourine or pin curl bob was insane. And here come an angry mob, a swarm of bullets as thick as June mosquitoes, an old lie, a cabal of insurance fraud, a whole clutch of homes, black as chalkboard, washed away. Not clean, mind you, plenty of blood, but nothing sinless about this, so call it what it is. A massacre, an arson. Zora said, if you are silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. But what about the bet you made with the currency of common dignity? What about the house money of God's image you were born with? Daylight itself is witness enough. Sure, anyone can neon up the night, say risk it all on vouchers and alchemy, hoop dreams as stable as wax left in the sun, the capriciousness of superintendents, envy as common as the name Johnson, and here come the torn ligaments of self-worth. Bet on competence, pudding proof, and sky blue facts, on the weight of Coach of the Year, on hard work, on self-determination, on yes we can, on side hustles, on one day they'll see. And here come the sheer ignominy of folks with big mediocre energy. There aren't too many ways to say shameless, but God help us if the parades of it ain't always packed. Like a revival tent in the 50s, like a sold-out show at Kane's Ballroom. Bet on oil, and here come a dead planet. Bet on breath, and here come a pandemic. Bet on yourself, and here come picket signs of who am I outside your heart. Bet on history, and it repeats like a drum loop. And who am I to entice you towards doom scrolling these lines? Who am I to ask of language anything other than to signify? Who am I to bet on the agility of beauty? So the next reader is a Maryland institution unto himself, the E. Ethelbert Miller.
Thank you for your kind remarks. I'm going to read 4 poems. Over the last few years, I've been collaborating with my best friend, Miho Kanas. She is a Japanese poet and translator who lives in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. And we've written over 700 poems. The first 3 I'm going to read is from 13 poems from this chapbook in celebration of the Miles Davis Centennial. It's called Man with a Horn, Miles Davis, and we dedicated this book to the very important poet and jazz critic, A.B. Spellman. The Man with a Horn. Miles Davis is a man with a horn. His horn held against the earth's ear. The climate change of coolness embraces his clothes. Black swans with studs are swimming in a whirlpool of jazz. Frank, Miles, and Marilyn. Frank O'Hara is listening to Miles and thinking abstract thoughts. He has philosophical questions about blue notes. O'Hara tells his poems Miles' music is more beautiful than Marilyn Monroe. All quiet. Somewhere between the Delaware and here, George Washington stopped to listen to Miles playing Someday My Prince Will Come. His horse, Blueskin, began prancing and moving his legs to the rhythm. Washington looked across the frozen terrain, his troops staring at his back. Historians claim it was like Miles before an audience. One of the beautiful things about Miho Kanas is that Miho's brilliant, you know. To give you a sense that her music is classical music. You know, the musician and composer she loves is Chopin. I think she's learned a lot from jazz from me over the last few years, but her acquiring of information and knowledge is fascinating. I was talking to her on the phone, and she said, "You're listening to Bud Powell, aren't you?" I was deeply impressed. And as you can see in one of the last poems, All Quiet, I read, I never knew the name of George Washington's horse. Miho knows the name of George Washington's horse. Okay. And so if you have your hymnal, you can turn to page 38. That's my mother reminding me I actually went to church today, but this is called The Color of Love, and the colors of love. And when I think of love, and you've probably seen this over the last few years, many people have been quoting James Baldwin because Baldwin reminds us about love. And when you look at Baldwin's life, two people that he really loved. One is in the poem and one isn't in the poem. And that's why I'm giving you this introduction. Buford Delaney is in the poem, and that's key. But the other person he was very, very close to was David Baldwin, his brother. The Colors of Love. James Baldwin is thinking about writing a novel. His characters want to move to another country and give each other different names. Buford Delaney tells Baldwin he should use more color in his sentences. Desires and regrets reflect the many shades of skin color in hallway light. The blues are known to turn shadows or darker hue before midnight. Charcoal gray reminds Baldwin of Harlem and the warm, tinted touch of a brother's love. Let me see. Samantha. Our next writer is Samantha Neugebauer, right? I got it. I've been working on this. You think I was... It took me years. Okay, many. And this is and wait, what you have to do
okay.
is talk about that now.
Oh, my husband is here too. My husband, who makes all this possible for me. Hi. So thank you for being here, and thank you for my introduction. A few years ago, when Annie Arnaud won the Pulitzer Prize, I was very disappointed because I am a great admirer of the Danish writer Tove Ditlevsen, and I think that what they're doing is very similar. And I had read a lot of both of them, but I hadn't read Arnaud's The Years, her memoir that is an act of collective autobiography. So I read it, and then I had the disappointing but wonderful realization that this was something so new and so wonderful. And I said to myself, and Tove in my head, we have to give it to her. She deserved it. So for the Capital Love Anthology, I wrote a short piece of flash experimenting with this idea of the collective we, or a collective autobiography of a generation, which is what Arnaud did. And so I tried to think about kind of the tension and the love between generations that I think is part of kind of the conversation or the missed opportunities right now that we're having in our country. So, lives lighter than our own, page 2. We lived in the age of accountability, and we were all amateur accountants, compiling the lightness and heaviness of lives. Even after our work bored us, it left its residue on our minds, like fingerprints on glass, and everyone was glass. We waited for normal to come again, but normal was 1997, and the listification and the commercialization of our nostalgia was ruining our nostalgia anyway, and our past alongside it too, cataracting our memories with greasy presentisms and adult anxieties. Under the Nazi regime, Benjamin wrote the work of art in the age of mechanical reproduction, prognosing how reproduction would devalue the aura, uniqueness, of a work of art. Now it is ourselves we reproduce, and it is our own auras we feel diminishing. We attempt to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic while rewatching the Titanic in 3D. And afterward on Instagram, Kate Winslet saying, "Nepotism isn't real," at her son's movie premiere. I share a birthday with her. Only our disappointment is real. We were promised the moon and the stars. We know it's wrong to be an eye. It belongs to the boom booms, our parents' generation. Yet we can't quite kick them or the eye off completely. Instead, we land somewhere in the middle, localizing our eye in small groups, a kind of compromise with ourselves. Actually, America already had the moon when we were born. But we don't deserve it anymore, and maybe we never did. That's the worst part. What we've loved is faulty, and loving too much, even now, makes us bad accountants. Thank you. And it is my duty and honor to invite Zach Powers up here.
I'm at this podium so much, but I never read. And so I'm nervous. And that's a strange sensation at this podium. Woo! So I read this on my panel, and it's my short little poem in here. I'm going to read it again, and if you were in the panel, I'm only slightly sorry. This is Here Often. I love a wrong feeling, and they're all wrong, more or less. Or it's the right feeling at the wrong time in the wrong company. No, there's no sin in making do, nor making out in the buzzy bar light, but prickled up like that, grinny and spinning, that's no time to ask. Maybe this? Thank you. Self-plug. I have a new novel, relatively new. New? We can say new. It's within new. Okay, thank you. Support. I was going to read a poem about foxes, a prose poem, but my colleagues, I think, went love and or sex, so I feel like I got to step up and pull out. I was raised Catholic, so I never intentionally write about sex. But this one took that turn at some point, so I will read. It's about the cosmos, Mom. This one's called Universals. At no point in considering the universe have I ever thought it cared about my pleasure. Enough stars seen from a distance create the fuzz we call galaxies. More stars than all the grains of sand on all the beaches I've counted. At the right scale, everything becomes cosmic, divine mists coalescing into bodies, bodies into other bodies, sexing up the firmament. This is the only scale we should consider. This is the only scale where being a being means being a being. The middle, where up and down both fuzz, and we sleep in the downy in between. Hug me, quanta, squeeze me, sky. A little hump and bump and grind. Why not? That's the stuff in star stuff. The universe cares enough, at least, for friction to be a law. At the scale where these laws apply, at least. All right, thank you. And I'm going to stop there because that's enough of me on this podium that I'm always at. And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome up Dean Watson, one of the great people, and accompaniment, which I will let Dean introduce the accompaniment.
All right, push that over here. Bring us home! All right, just a minute. How are we gonna do with this? It's gotta go up more. Can you thank you? Because I'm gonna go get my book and I'm gonna And I know I'm short. I know I'm short, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think so. I think this is tight. I don't want it to collapse.
Just a little bit so we see your wonderful company.
All right. Is it in front of me? Like right in front of me? There you go. Okay. You ready? Okay. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hello. Okay. I'm Dean Watson, and this is my mate, Abasi Johnson. And that's my mate in music. My other mate is at home. Keep it straight. We're going to do two pieces. One is called Where is the Love? And it's an expanded version of the haiku that we have that I have in the Capital Love book. And then we're going to do a piece called Abby Tells All, which is dedicated to Abby Lincoln. Okay. Ready? All right, Where is the love? Music is the place where love goes in the bluest times. The power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love. Dancing a two-step, love and music, always together. The power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love. Life is a blues song, laugh, cry, feel, sing the harmony. The power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love. Inside the music, where love lives, a teardrop, a smile. The power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love. Heart, beat, melodies, spirit sound, crystal silence. The power of love, when love is supreme, soul to soul, let the music play. The power of love, the power of love, the power of love, the power of love. The power of love, 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 the power of love. This is Abby Tells All. Didn't know nothing about no music, not how songs supposed to be sung. Like the way when you can catch a feeling and soar to glory and back on a song. All I did was stand up there warbling, just like I heard it on the radio, showing all the good Lord gave me. Marilyn and sepia is what they wanted. Then one night I heard Monk whisper, Ivory's percussing in my ear, communicating with my spirit. Don't be so perfect, that's what he said. Ain't no wrong beats in the music. You got to swing the whole damn band. And when Monk speaks, you ought to listen. He's as likely to dance as to say a word. Don't try, 'cause you can't stop my screaming. We insist. That's all I'm saying. Hardly perfect, hard to handle. Warrior woman, Nappy Abby. What's my body got to do with the music? Don't send me no more evening gowns, 'cause straight ahead is where I'm going. Straight ahead is where I'm going. Abasi Johnson. All right.
more time for all our readers, for Dean, for Garina. What a fabulous day. And we have wine, we have cheese, we have goodies, we have books. We are here for another hour to mingle and talk. So please, thank you all. Thank you all. Please stay. Please have fun with us.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate. We love you all. Thank you. Woo!